Hi. So since last spring, I have been working in a lab um, during my break between the school years, and this has been an opportunity that makes sense for my personal goals. Right now, I am at Stanford and I'm studying biology, and I hope to go forward and study to study medicine later. And so this internship made a lot of sense with my personal goals, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what I do at the laboratory. Um, so essentially what I'm doing is creating DNA, and there are two main things that I need to do for part of this process. I need to age insects, and I need to break down their genetic material uh, in general, in order to do this. And so yesterday or today, my boss told me about a specific DNA strand that he would like me to create for tomorrow. And so I want to talk a little bit about what I need to do for that process. So I'm going to take a pretty small uh, container, and I am going to first, there's a couple different things that go into it. So I'm going to take the first um, part of it, and I'm going to take just a little bit. I have a tool. It's kind of like a suction little thing. So I'll be able to suck up just a little bit of that first part, put it in the tube, um, and then I can take the second thing and combine those two together. And actually, I would like to go back because something that's really important, my boss has always really stressed with me, is it's important to make sure that all of these things are labeled clearly. So in this case, I'm going to label it with the name of the material that I'm creating, as well as my initials and the date for today. Um, so that way, nothing will get mixed up. Um, So after I've done those first two things, I need to also grow up the bugs, or I need to age them. So I'm need to um, deal with that. I forgot to mention about the second material that we are trying to create a genetic strand that is resistant to certain other types of things, and so I need to put a little bit of that in the mixture to help make a resistant strand. That way, any bugs or anything that grows in the culture will be resistant. Um, After I've done those two things, we need to put a third last substance in, and this substance is kept in an extremely, extremely cold cooler. So I need to make sure that I'm always wearing protection when I go in. Usually I make sure all of my exposed limbs are covered, because again, as I said, it's extremely cold and it could be dangerous otherwise. So when I go in there, there's a special little container, and it's kept the most cold, and I pull that out. I look for the specific number that I was looking for. Again, going backwards, everything is labeled with a number, and so I'm looking for the specific number that I've already looked up for today. And I find that number, and I'm going to need a slightly different tool. This tool you can sort of use more for scraping as opposed to just suctioning. And sometimes the materials in this box are going to be a little bit too cold, and sometimes you have to mix the original mixture in order to sort of defrost it a little bit, and it'll become more of an icy substance as opposed to frozen solid. Um, so once I have mixed those two together, or mixed the three ultimately together, I'm ready actually for the final stage. And that is, we go in a room, we call it the vibration room, and um, it's kept in the 30-degree range. And the first thing we need to do is make sure to turn it off, or turn it down at least, so that we can enter and deal with everything. So we're going to take our little 10 milliliter container, and we're going to put it in there. And it's very important to make sure that I turn it back on when I leave, because other people are working on things as well, and so I want to make sure that whatever they're working on will continue. And then I leave it in there sort of uh, preparing for the next 6, 7 hours, however long I will still be at work for the day. Um, and then later on, I'm going to go in there and I'm creating different size cultures, and I will tell you more about that later.